Well, hello, 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 and welcome to The Difference Makers. I'm your host, Jacqueline Grant, and today we have a very special guest. We always have special guests, but today is very special in that this is the time of year when people are planning forward, they're looking back and seeing what worked for them, what may have been a good move for them, and they're looking back and seeing what might need to be tweaked or changed, and then they are planning forward to see what they need to do to make their dreams come true. So today's show is about dreaming and making those dreams come true. My guest for today is Luke Reynolds. And Luke, he's a friend of mine, he's a client of mine, and I'm really looking forward to sharing him with you. Transforming the painting industry by setting the bar impossibly high in overall client experience. That's what Luke does. He does this by showing up when he says he's going to show up and having his team do the same and standing behind their work, never subcontracting their project out, and proudly partnering with their team members to be able to grow their career path. So he's in it, not just for himself, not just for his business, but to help his employees to develop not just a job, but a career. So help me bring to the virtual stage my friend, my client, Luke Reynolds. Luke, welcome to The Difference Makers.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you here. I really am looking forward to chatting with you. We've had various conversations before, but I'm really looking forward to sharing you with the audience. Tell us a little bit, first and foremost, what you do to make a difference in the lives of others.
Absolutely, Jacqueline. Thank you. I'm definitely honored to be on your show here on LinkedIn, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And so, I always tell my team, we meet on a regular basis, and they know that my happy day is on Thursday because you and I get to talk about what we're working on together. And even today, my ops manager said, "Today's your happy day." It is. It is my happy day. So thank you for making this happen on Thursday. That's a really good day. So to answer your question, what is the difference that I am working on and what I am trying to bring? It really revolves around the career path of the painter. And for our paint industry, there has been kind of a stereotype of us being, for lack of better words, the redheaded stepchild of the bunch. And, you think about different trades, you think about electrical, you think about carpentry, you think about HVAC, and all of which are really great trades, including the painting trade. They all have their uniqueness to them and their skill set. And for whatever reason over the years, what I have found is that there is a lack of training in the paint industry. And that's where I feel like I can really make a difference, is by preparing a platform for the painter to learn how to paint, the skills that it takes. Whereas that it can definitely take place on the job, but it could also take place in a classroom through hands-on workshops, and so that's the platform that I am creating to make that difference. And what's really cool about it is this is fairly new, a new idea, a new vision of mine. This isn't something that I thought about 5 years ago. It's very fresh, but I've seen over the years how it's developed and evolved into this idea of how can I make a difference. And so it doesn't just help the painter who's learning to get better faster at what they do. It helps so many more people. It helps the contractor. I hear from other peers in my industry who are owners of painting businesses all the time. And this is even across the trades, not just the paint industry. I hear, "I wish I had more skilled help. If I had more skilled help, then I could have higher revenues and I could get the work done that my clients are asking me to get done, and I wouldn't be behind on my schedule." And so it helps the painter it helps the contractor, but ultimately it puts food on people's tables because everyone is trying to do something to provide financial freedom for themselves and for their family. And if I can be a part of that and help people take steps that have a ripple effect onto their families and put food on the table at the end of the day, then that brings me a lot of pleasure knowing that I had a part in that.
Absolutely, and you surely do. And you said the operative word, taking steps. So thank you for giving us the big picture. Let's now bring it down a few thousand feet and talk about, how did you come up with this vision? How did it start for you? Whenever it did start, you said it's not years ago, it's fresh, but we originally started to talk about this about a year ago, about this time last year. So how long has this vision really been in you, and how did it get started?
I would have to say it's been instilled in me in a long time, but I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad was a painting contractor. So I kind of grew up around an entrepreneur, and I grew up with this idea that I would like to have my business someday, but I
Mm-hmm.
never knew what this business would be. And so I went down a path of doing things that I like to do. I was a pilot for an engineering company, and I did project management as well. And I did that for 11 years. But halfway through that 11-year career span,
Mm-hmm.
I had this desire to be a part of something bigger, to have a little bit more control over what it was that I got to be a part of. And so um, I decided that, when that chapter closed, I was going to start a business. I told my dad that it would never be painting. And he even offered his painting company to me as he was retiring out of the business. And I said, no, I don't see myself having a painting business. So this started a long time ago with an idea that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And it
Mm-hmm.
just so happened to fall into painting, because when I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to take a step and go down this path of business ownership, it's what I knew. I
And
knew
that's
how,
how most businesses
yeah,
start. They start with something that you know, something you're familiar with, something that you have been around and can see the gaps and holes that you could possibly fill. Is that what happened to you?
exactly. Yeah. So when I started the business, I thought I could do well because of my background, not just with painting, but also with professionalism. And I
Mm-hmm.
did feel like there was a lack of professionalism within the painting industry. And so that's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And then my business started in 2016. So about halfway through that point, I really realized that as the business was growing, I needed to have skilled labor, and I found it really hard to find. And and then along the way, when you start to create these passions, at first it was professionalism,
Mm-hmm.
and what I started to realize was I really liked growth. I really liked the idea of um, being a part of something that was growing. And even when I was in my past career, that was part of the pain. Is
Mm-hmm.
it was stagnant, that my division wasn't growing. And so in order for me to take the next step in my career, I had to wait for someone to leave, and that took too long.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of pain from that time of that earlier career in the corporate environment that has turned into passion. And so, when I come to work, what brings me the most joy is seeing someone get promoted and taking the next step in their career.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really fulfills me every day. And so the idea of being not just a provider of a company that can give someone a job, but also always be growing the company so that person has an opportunity to grow as well was
Mm-hmm.
even more exciting. So, it really came into full fruition of this idea to start a certification program when I came up with this idea of needing to have people growing within the company, and also I needed to grow the company. I had to have skilled painters, and they weren't there. And I kept looking and looking, and they're not there. But really, so who's going to do it? I guess
You
it's got to be me,
exactly,
you
exactly.
know?
You
So
brought up a couple of good points about passion and passion, pain going into passion, and finding that pain point and getting through it to get to the passion. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, as well as those who are maybe working a job, wanting to transition into entrepreneurship, are feeling that pain. They're feeling that I could be doing more, I could be contributing more, there's no opportunity for growth. They're feeling those pains. But just like a woman who is pregnant, she has to go through the pain to get to the pleasure of having the child. So tell us a little bit about the child that you are birthing.
yeah, I mean, it's constant pain, and it keeps getting bigger, right? Like when you think you solve one thing, then there's just another hurdle, there's another obstacle, but it's building resilience, it's building a better platform. And so, we do have to go through the pains of that. A tree cannot grow without resistance. Did you know that a tree will fall over if it doesn't have wind?
Really?
So the roots develop and go deep when there's resistance. And
Wow.
that's what allows the tree to grow taller. So,
I didn't know that.
if you put a tree in a mall or in a building, it's not going to grow very tall because it has no wind. And I heard this recently, and I really thought that was what a really good life lesson, because if we don't go through these challenges of pain, how are we going to know what needs to be worked on? How are we going to know how to grow? And so I love that metaphor, and I really feel like, you know, you got to take pain with some joy, because you should know that it's going to produce fruit, and it's going to produce something different within you that's going to allow you to help someone else, allow you to help yourself more. So, I really think it's important it's tough when you're going through pain, but to recognize it and to see how you can turn it into that passion and to make a difference.
So when you talked about going through the pain, tell us a little bit about your thought process, the mindset. We know mindset, your thoughts contribute greatly to what the actions you take or don't take. So tell us a little bit about the thought process you went through and how you overcame any challenges in that thought process.
Yeah. When you come up with an idea and it's great, and it's your vision, it's your dream, you should pursue it, there's going to be those obstacles that take you off course. And that happened with me this year, to where I knew I was supposed to be working on it, but it just seemed too big. How was I going to be the one that was going to lead this effort? And in that process of pain, of the unknown is difficult enough, because it requires action. I have a quote on my wall from Michael Jordan that says, some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, and others make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be the one to make it happen. And so it's easy to run and go the other way, right? That's the easy way out. And I found another outfit that was doing something similar. But after almost giving up and saying, what, I'll let them do it and maybe I can jump on board with them, I realized that I was probably going to wake up 20 years from now and see what they were doing, and see that it's not quite the same way that I was going to do it. And then I would have regrets of, why didn't I do this when I had the opportunity, when I had the time to do it, when I just needed to make it happen. So I think that's how I've dealt with pain and the obstacles, is just taking that next step, because execution is difficult, especially for visionaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to come up with the ideas, and it doesn't mean you have to do everything, but the ideas of things that are flooding into your mind can be overwhelming, and it can cause you to want to not work on it. And so you just have to keep taking one step. Don't look at the whole mountain, you know. take a bite out of an elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
And really surrounding yourself around like-minded people who reignite and who ignite that passion within you to want to move forward and to take those steps, because the vision does keep getting bigger. Every
That's
time
a
you
great
work on
point.
it, it gets bigger.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
But like this year,
Mhm.
I just had our company annual meeting, and I wanted to talk about the year. So I looked back at what I wrote down I wanted to accomplish this year. And it's so amazing how, if you just write it down, those things that you get to look back on. I didn't have to come up with a bunch of things that we accomplished. I looked back at what I wrote down, and I looked to see what things did get accomplished. And that was powerful. It's like, oh my goodness, that happened. Wow, that happened too. And so even if just writing it down is a step for you, there is power in the action of writing something down that is really tough to describe until you actually do it. But that is taking a step. I didn't have to go, to every painting company in the US all at once and say, I have a training program. That was too much. I took a small step of writing it down first of what I wanted to do. And maybe someday every painting company will know that there is a platform and a space to educate their painters. But I don't have to worry about that now. I'm helping what I can help right now, which is the people in my own office get trained and helping them have a platform to learn. And we'll just keep taking these steps and moving down that path. So.
Yes, you talked about being overwhelmed, and that often is one of the things that stops people in their tracks, is feeling they have to do everything, know everything, and handle everything themselves. How did you get past that?
I think you have to be humble. There's something really powerful about admitting you don't know everything because people naturally want to help you. And when you're willing to get past the pride of pretending that you know something that you don't and you ask for help, it's going to come. It just naturally does. And so one of my strengths, I would say, or superpowers is being transparent. And sometimes that hurts me because, it's that extrovert side of, just saying anything that comes out of your mouth. And, but there is power in transparency, and people will want to partner when you are openly speaking about what it is you want to do. You're not going to attract everyone, but you're going to naturally gravitate to the people that are attracted to that. And you might share similar visions as to someone else, and next thing you know, it's a partnership. And that's how Jacqueline and I got connected. I shared a vision with someone who knew Jacqueline, and said, why don't you, here's Jacqueline's phone number, give her a call and tell her what you just told me. And next thing you know, here we are working together on this vision. And vendors have jumped on. Sherwin-Williams. Everyone knows who Sherwin-Williams is. I told them my vision. They wanted to know how we could work together more, and I shared my vision, and they said, let us help. Really? How much is that going to cost me? Nothing. Just start working with us. Buy more paint. Okay. Well, we're selling more work. I'll buy more paint. Lo and behold, they're connecting me with people that have like-minded interests.
And that gives you more credibility and more authority, more expertise as you get new jobs, and you can share that you have partnered with a national brand.
Yeah, it's exciting. It really is. And to know that, back to these huge obstacles and how can you take it on by yourself? You don't have to. You really just have to communicate and be transparent and just keep taking those steps, and you're going to see the roads open up for you. So that's been my experience with it.
Absolutely. And that's the experience of most people as well. When you focus in on your expertise and your passion, and you surround yourself, as you said, with other experts who are expert in what they do, then you can do what you do and they can do what they do, and you partner or you work together in some way, and all the facets, all the pieces that are needed come and fall into place. So tell us what some of the achievements you've made this year have been. What's some of the major takeaways that you're really happy about that maybe you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned talking to Sherwin-Williams. It was last year, really at about this time.
Mhm.
I said, we really just need to put something on paper, put it on a presentation so that we can use something to train our in-house painters. That was the biggest hurdle, just putting it on paper and having some type of framework. And so since then, we've actually developed a 20-hour training program for the beginner painter. And it includes not just the technical skill sets that they need, like how to tape, what type of tape to use, what type of paper and plastic, how do you protect a surface, not just the technical things of painting, but we also are incorporating career mindset,
Mhm.
right? Going back to my passion of having growing opportunities. So we want to teach them how to take steps in the paint industry with their career. We also want to teach professionalism and leadership capabilities as well. So it's not just about painting. It's about being a better leader and knowing that you're going to go somewhere with these skills.
Mhm.
So we've now graduated 15 apprentices, over 15 apprentices this year with that in-house program. And I've been working with Jacqueline on developing a course that is much more robust than what I ever thought it would be. And so there were some hoops that we've had to jump through, and one of those was to get approved through the local apprenticeship standards and the Department of Labor here in Indiana. And so we are the only painting contractor that has an apprenticeship program in the state of Indiana approved through the Department of Labor. So
And
that
here
that,
is.
that was a huge celebration because it wasn't easy. It took multiple phone calls, and Jacqueline can tell you, you know, but it was something that we started and we kept going back to it, and here it is. We get to be an official sponsor, and so there's credibility behind that now. And so now when we talk about a training program, and I have an opportunity to put this on my email, I'm writing it down, I'm sharing the story, and people are asking questions. I have other painting contractors wanting to know, what does this mean?
So it's a conversation starter as well as a credibility builder. So just to repeat what Luke said, what we're looking at right now is his signature line in any email that he sends out. This is the bottom portion of the email that has his name, and he showcases his mission statement, which again starts the conversation. Transforming the paint industry and setting the bar impossibly high on overall client experience. Ask me how. So that's the operative question. It's a conversation starter. How do you do that? How do you overcome this impossibly high bar? I didn't think it was so impossible. I'm doing it every day, but you're doing it small. You're doing it at a low level. Luke is doing it at a high level. So he wants to share with others how he's doing that. And then he has the two logos, his company logo on the left, All In Painting, and the Department of Labor's seal that says he is an approved sponsor of local apprenticeship standards. He has passed the bar of their rigorous standards to be approved as an apprenticeship program, which is now opening up other opportunities for him as well. So for those of you listening out there, this is not just about the paint industry. This is about applying your expertise, your industry knowledge, and incorporating leadership, incorporating particular standards that you know are necessary for your area of expertise, and all the other things that Luke talked about that was outside of specifically painting. Painting is just the area of expertise that he has, but you have your own. But you can apply the system and the process and the procedure of growing it to what you know your industry needs, gaps that you've seen in your industry, and how you can fill it in your own unique way. So, Luke, tell us a little bit about, since you've been using this approximately since September of this year, what kind of responses and impact has this had for you?
Oh, it's been significant. Um, some of the national associations that we are a part of are very interested because it aligns with their visions. And so I'm seeing that this is providing a value.
Mhm.
And when other platforms that are much bigger than mine here in Indianapolis are taking interest, it's really exciting. It gives me more passion to want to help, and it ups my game a little bit, right? Because now, okay, wow, I get to talk to, the VP of North America for Sherwin-Williams marketing division. I mean, that sounds amazing, and I get excited
Yes,
about that,
it is.
and it's like, man, someone with that title, how did I get here? And it simply was just sharing the vision and
Mhm.
people wanting to help. And it just opens up those conversations because everyone's talking about what they're working on. And naturally, like I said at the beginning, people are helping each other and wanting to connect one another,
Mhm.
which is what Jacqueline's doing here, which is creating connections. And so, there's a lot of power in sharing this vision and developing something and not being afraid to share it because ears are open, and there's people on the way to help. So
Well,
I'm
speaking of
really excited.
people, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying I'm really excited to see who else is going to come out of the woodwork with this. So it's still exciting to know that there's unknowns. You don't have to know it
Mhm.
all.
You don't have to know it all, but I would love to revisit with you in a few months and see what else has come down the pipeline for you. But you were talking about help. Would you help our audience in sharing any tips or advice when it comes to having that big dream and you don't know how to make it happen? What advice would you have for them?
It probably would just go, if you don't know how to make it happen, talk to someone that you trust, someone that you think that has had success. Whenever, there's a lot of different groups you can be in. And me, I have naturally gravitated to people who are older than me, who had done it before. Nothing wrong with someone who's younger than me, because there's wisdom there. There's wisdom on both sides of age. But me in particular, I want to talk to someone who's done it before.
Mhm.
And so maybe taking it one step further, don't just communicate it. Talk to people that you think are successful. Talk to people that inspire you because they're likely willing to listen and probably more likely to shed some wisdom and guidance
Mhm.
through your ideas.
Wow. You have shared so much, inspired in so many ways to help people to take an idea, maybe they're a little stalled, and to get moving again on it, to find those who they trust, who they can get some additional guidance and assistance from. They don't have to know it all, they don't have to do it all themselves, and just finding those resources by just communicating your vision. So sometimes fear is false evidence appearing real, but if we are fearful, what can we do to overcome that fear so we can speak our vision without being fearful of whatever it may be, whether they're going to laugh at me, they're going to think my idea is silly, they may steal my idea. What can you say related to that as your closing point for us today?
Probably going back to write it down, and memorize it. My mission statement: transforming the industry and setting the bar, and possibly high and overall client experience. The first time I said that in a group, it was really hard because I wanted to get it right. So I practiced it on my own over and over. And I'd tell my wife, I'd tell my employees, my colleagues, my peers. So I started practicing saying it out loud. I wrote it down. I practiced saying it. I got comfortable with it. and it just took some time to do that. But I would say being prepared, there's times to, I guess, shoot from the hip. And you'll get better at that as time goes on, the more that you work on your idea and the vision that you have, because you've already experienced so much from it. But when you're first starting out, it is fearful. It's tough to say it out loud, and it's tough to communicate it. So know that it will get easier over time.
All right. So we thank you for that so much. And if there are those out there who want to know more, would like to maybe contact you, get a little bit more of your story, maybe a little more of your inspiration, how can they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. Well, you can email me. That's probably the easiest way. And my email is luke@goallinpainting.com. And I would say that would be the best way to get a hold of me. I would be glad to help. And I don't mind sharing my cell phone number either, if that's easier. It's 317-517-9507. And I'd be glad to have a conversation with you about it. And maybe I can help. So
you definitely have, and I'm sure there are those who will take you up on your offer to have a conversation, because again, we've had with us our guest Luke Reynolds of All In Painting, and understand that painting is the mechanism, but what he's sharing today is the inspiration, the education of getting past being overwhelmed with your vision and making your vision come into fruition. So please, if you are interested in learning more and talking to Luke, he's being so transparent that he is even sharing his cell phone number in addition to his email address. We truly appreciate you, Luke, because you're making a difference in the world and you make a difference to me. So thank you so much for being here on The Difference Makers, and we'll see all of you next time.
Thank you.